Good evening, Falcons. Welcome back to week 7 of our 8-week presentation on abuse. As I told you in my previous presentation, I know about domestic violence and the cycle of abuse because I am a product of that cycle. Now, let me bring you into my world, my history, my family, my circle of abuse. There is a passage in the Bible, Proverbs 13:24, that states, "Whoever spares the rod hates their children, but the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them." Growing up, my mom and dad believed in this completely, but their idea of discipline was more abuse than discipline. It was not always physical abuse, even though now I wish it would have been. You see, my mom raised us with an iron fist, just as she was raised, and while my dad was more mentally abusive than physically. We were not allowed to show any emotions in my home because if you want to cry, I will give you something to cry about. That was my dad's favorite thing to say. And well, the cycle of abuse just kept making itself known. When my mom was done beating us, we were informed that we had it easy compared to her childhood. She grew up with a mom that broke brooms over her back and put her through many mirrors. So us getting hit in the face was easy in her eyes. So when I started dating, I looked for men that were as controlling as my dad, that were as abusive as my dad, because abuse was all that I knew. To me, being abused meant he loved you. I did not think that a normal relationship consisted of a man being kind to a woman. So I broke up with men that treated me well and married abusive men. Now, were they abusive from the start? No, but no abuser ever is. Studies have shown that domestic violence is the leading cause of injury to women ages 15 to 65, according to the Texas Council on Family Violence. Domestic violence is a pattern of behavior which involves violence or other abuse by one person against another person in any domestic setting. Domestic violence is very common in the United States. In fact, 1 out of every 4 women will suffer abuse in their lifetime. It is the abuser who is responsible for his abuse, but as a society, we blame the victim more than the abuser. I know this is because I used to blame my mom for staying in the abusive relationship with my dad. As a teenager, I would get so angry with my mom when she would cry to me and about my dad because I would tell her, then why not leave? If you hate being abused so much, do something about it. Does this sound familiar? It should. These are the statements and questions that victims and survivors of domestic violence get from not only society, but from their own friends and loved ones. When a doctor continues to see the pattern of abuse, do they try and help as they should, especially since they take an oath to do no harm? The answer is not many do. When a woman continues to be seen for mysterious falls, doctors bandage them up and send them right back into the same environment. Why is domestic violence invisible? The answer is that no one wants to stop blaming the victim long enough to actually try and help. Many do not see that a pattern being abused stays because often they are so fearful that the abuser's retaliation that they would rather stay and take the abuse than leave and face a much stronger fear. We become trapped in dangerous relationships with the hope that if I am perfect, If I quit upsetting him, if the kids are just quiet, then maybe the abuse will stop. We get trapped in a hope for a future change, a change that many times never comes, a change that sends too many victims to the morgue and too many abusers to jail. Instead of condemning the abuse and abuser, people around those victimized, just as my family and friends did with me and I myself had done with my mom, often simply blame them with, "What do you expect? Did you choose to stay?" As a society, we need to stop the circle of